Welcome back to Modern Mondays here at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. We're Portland Paper. I'm Travis Cooper, hanging out with King of Superlatives,
Ian Lunger.
and we're here to watch some analog modern Magic the Gathering. And it looks like we have an interesting matchup here. Got Miles Failing on Selesnya Eldrazi and TJ Flowers on Is It Spells.
And Travis, which side of this matchup would you like to be on?
Oh, um, I imagine Selesnya Eldrazi seems pretty strong, just putting out some hasty 5 power threats early on in the game. Thought Not Seer seems good. A lot of your creatures are going to be more than 3 toughness, which is an important stat if you're playing against a Lightning Bolt Is It Charm deck.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Miles' version is kind of an aggressive Eldrazi deck. This is not Eldrazi Tron. We're looking to beat face quickly, and we're not playing Chalice on Miles' side.
Yeah, I think Miles is playing some kind of tax-ish version of, it's kind of like a green-white taxes splashing some Eldrazi in there. Yeah, it's an interesting build, but seems like it's a pretty viable deck. Have some disruptive creatures, have some huge creatures, win the game quickly.
Yeah, Miles has been smashing face with this version of Eldrazi for some time now, I believe. So it looks like TJ on a mole to 6 here.
Oh, it looks like we have a little bit of camera issues that we're gonna fix this sort of bounciness of that in between the matches here. So if you'll bear with us for this first match, we'll get that fixed in a minute.
Miles starting off with the ever popular Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, it does seem like that's probably a boost to this strategy where a lot of times you're missing a key land piece or your big payoff creature, and that would be able to find either of those.
TJ's probably not happy to see that Thalia.
Not something you necessarily expect to see as a follow up with a Once Upon a Time.
No, not at all. And no real indication that Miles is on any sort of Eldrazi version yet either, if you're TJ.
I don't know. The land that adds a colorless maybe would be a hint for me.
Possibly.
Also, if you've ever played against Miles at the store, that might be a hint as
Yes.
well. Very
Yeah.
strong hint.
Right. Yeah. He does have a particular deck he has become associated with for sure. Okay, TJ's gonna fire off a Goblin Engineer.
Wonder what kind of spells these
Oh,
is it made just slinging? Perhaps we're
okay. I mean, this suggests we have the Thopter Sword combo.
okay.
I wonder if this is just like an Is It Whirza list? I guess we're gonna see right now.
Oh well, the combo is kind of locked up
Okay,
there.
this looks like Grixis Whirza to me.
Yeah, I would agree. We have a watery grave in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of redundancy, and you can't take the land.
Yeah, I guess if I'm Miles, I'm getting,
Probably were.
yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to take another Foundry. Bef- you're not going to be able to play Thought Not Seer before TJ gets down that Foundry. So, but
Sure.
TJ is under some pretty serious pressure here.
Alright. See Thopter Foundry come out. Miles ripping the Eldrazi Temple off the top.
That's an Endbringer. That's going to do a decent job of dealing with some Thopters.
Yes.
All right. TJ taking 2, chumps the Thought-Knot Seer.
TJ's up against it here. I imagine we're hoping to make it maybe to Ensnaring Bridge, but still a ways away if we're worrying for it through the Thalia. I do see an Urza in hand for TJ, so
That's a yeah, it's
I
good
mean,
combo potential there.
probably have to cast it this turn. So that'll happen. Urza's a pretty good blocker for Thalia. Although, if Miles wants to, he can tap down the Urza with the Endbringer to get in. Okay, well that can take care of the token. Oh yeah, I guess it would make way more sense to just attack than tap down the Urza. Sure.
Don't really want to be blinking the Urza.
No, no, that seems
It's
pretty
not the
bad.
blink target.
Also, I mean, Miles knows about the whir in TJ's hand, and TJ is really close to being able to... Wait, can TJ just go off this turn? We have Urza, Thopter Foundry, and Sword. D- Does TJ not just make infinite Thopters here?
Yeah, I'm curious if we're missing something.
Chat. Hi, little Mark. Okay.
Oh, we're making infinite number of Thopters right now.
Miles, with the typical response to this combo is, "Oh yeah, because you can do
Okay,
that."
I'm going to be right back and try to make a little adjustment on this camera stability issue.
All right.
Won't quite fix it until next round, but returning in a second.
Thank you. And I will sit here and talk about some possible sideboard cards here. I imagine Miles is looking at some amount of graveyard hate, which puts a pretty good damper on this Whirza list. From TJ's side, I imagine we're looking at maybe some dismembers, some sort of creature removal. Haven't seen any green yet, so
I heard there was 2 Okos on the sideboard.
Okay, so TJ is messing with some green, so maybe some Okos get in there to lessen TJ's reliance on the yard in this matchup.
Yeah, Miles is a player that is definitely known to sideboard pretty aggressively with very swingy cards like a Rest in Peace, etc. So wouldn't be surprised if there's 4 Rest in Pieces on Miles' sideboard.
Sure, and you know, Rest in Peace is good in this matchup, but I wouldn't say it's like an absolute slam dunk. This particular version of Grixis Whirza can provide a lot of onboard value even with the Rest in Peace in play.
Yeah, it turns out the card Urza High Lord is pretty... it's like a value package just in and of itself.
Yep. Yeah, being able to spin stuff off the top of your library and potentially create creatures that are bigger than Miles Eldrazi is certainly problematic. Although Eldrazi Displacer is a fairly good answer for large constructs.
Do you have any thoughts and feelings about the art on Urza? Do we want to pull that up?
Sure.
Because I always like when I think of Urza, I imagine the Urza Saga artwork, and where it seems like he's kind of this like clumsy mage that then just ends up blowing up a bunch of things by accident. And this guy looks, I mean, this looks like a Marvel superhero to me.
Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan. I would have preferred to just have never gotten any art for Urza. Honestly, I think he was one of those characters that I think was best left just imagined. But certainly, if there was going to be art, this wasn't my favorite. I almost think I would prefer like the unset art for
Oh yeah,
the Urza Planeswalker.
I like that art a lot. That's
Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, this was maybe a little more my speed if we were gonna try to imagine Urza.
that also like flavor wise in terms of the lore seems a little bit more accurate.
Yeah,
We need the power stones for the eyeballs though.
yeah.
Yes, players are making some pretty tough sideboard choices it seems.
Yeah, TJ kind of working through sideboard. It looked like Miles didn't sideboard too heavily. I thought I saw maybe three or four cards
Yeah, that's about
coming
what I
in and
saw too.
out.
Didn't quite get a peek at what they were.
But I am with you. I do think if they are rest in pieces, that is a good card to be bringing in here. Well, Travis, we had a band announcement today, although
Oh
it
yeah, that's
wasn't
right.
was not in modern.
Nope, we have I guess next Monday we have potentially if there's going to be any banned or restricted announcements for other formats that aren't Pioneer. That'll happen on the 18th. But for now, we just got a what's ended up being a pretty ubiquitous card in Modern, banned in Pioneer.
Veil of Summer.
People like to say the one mana cryptic command, which sometimes it is.
Yeah, obviously a bit of an oversimplification, but certainly certainly a house when it lands.
Yeah, I mean, I think this would still see pretty heavy sideboard play, even if it didn't draw you a card. The fact that it draws you a card is nuts. I heard some interesting discussion too, just in terms of uh, breaking the color pie for cards lately, where this card, when it has all those modes that happen at the same time, and there's not a choice, it does things that green usually doesn't like have access to at the same time. And yeah, I very powerful pushed one mana card.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's banned, but I mean, I think I think there's some other probably problematic cards in green and Pioneer in any case. At this point, green has gotten quite a selection of bluish bluish cards of late.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy how like Sultai went from being kind of unplayable for a long time that now it's even like pops up and really good modern decks are playing green. Decks are splashing green just to get like Once Upon a Time, Veil of Summer, Oko. Yeah, it's green's turned into what you want to be doing in sort of mid-range control strategies.
Foundry's out there. TJ kind of rapidly putting a board together here. Miles with a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, turn 2, 3-2.
I think Displacer, I thought Displacer was a 3/3. Let's bring it up here.
I think you're right. I just know it dies the lightning bolt.
Truth. Let's
Three
take a
three,
look at it.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
just Dies to Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile.
Right.
That's
And
a,
at this point, it would die to a Construct as well.
also to a Galv Blast.
Yeah, which if TJ is fetch shocking, that could very well be in Miles' immediate future. Gablas seems like a slam dunk sideboard card to bring in here if you're on TJ's side or possibly even main deck. Okay.
Yeah, well, I just have the turn 2 combo up here. The slow part of the combo, not the infinite part.
Yeah, this will give a lot of blockers if Miles can TKS and okay. All right, so Miles trying to keep TJ off of Urza here. It's gonna be tough. I mean,
Our bridge is probably what the that engineer was going to grab.
sure. Um, TJ probably gonna bobble here on end step to get a look at two cards that Miles is not gonna be able to get with a Thought-Knot Seer. And TJ's going to have a steady stream of blockers to stabilize here, and without a Reality Smasher on the horizon, it's going to be tough for Miles to get any damage through.
I do. I see. Here's some great card design. Witching Well. 1 mana card that gives you some advantage when it comes to play. Costs some resources to do a divination. Great card. Good job, play design team.
Agreed. A card that's specialized enough that it has a place in a deck, but obviously there are better options out there if you're not going to make use of the fact that it's an artifact. So, agreed. Good design on this card. So Miles noting he does have 2 flickers available, so that can get rid of a couple of Thopters. But Reality Smasher seems better here. So we'll get 2 life and 2 Thopters.
And I have a feeling we might kill this displacer, maybe?
Yep.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. Yeah, that Displacer is potentially problematic in the future. Although TJ may value life total here, but I agree with you. I think getting the Displacer off the battlefield is be a good idea. Yep, and TJ agrees.
I actually like TJ's position here. Gonna be able to gain 3 life each turn, block the Thought Not
And in
Seer, so you're
fact,
basically taking 2, but then soon you're gonna get enough Thopters that you're gonna be able to actually block this Reality Smasher.
I believe TJ still should have had a Thopter on board after blocks there. But we're gonna let players play here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab him and let him know.
Okay. Okay.
You should have a Thopter left. You should have a Thopter left. Oh, you're right. Thank you.
All right. Miles in a good spot though. We have 2 Reality Smashers and a Thought-Knot Seer and an Engineered Explosives on 0. I mean, this seems like unless TJ has something that I don't see, Miles is going to be able to get these Thopters off the battlefield before blocks. Although I guess what TJ probably wants to do is present enough blocks that Miles is forced to pop the EE before we go to blocks, and then or after the EE is popped, can then make a couple more Thopters.
Yeah, I don't think TJ has enough mana to do that.
Okay, so just seeing if Miles is gonna pop it, and that'll do it.
All right, good smashing.
Yeah, in a game that felt like Miles was going to get gummed up and stuck, um, manages to take it home here.
Yeah, I wonder if Miles had the explosives in hand and knew that that was going to be the sort of like alpha turn, and sacrificed that displacer to get in some damage in the previous turn. Seems like worked out well.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I kind of wasn't expecting it to go that way, but yeah. So Miles taking a look.
Miles is like, man, that explosives was really good. I might bring the other one in.
I like Miles playing. I don't know how many he's playing, but a couple of explosives are great in a situation like that to help you push through some damage. But I think the general power level of the car is moderately low. Although I guess hitting an opal and possibly a construct or a construct is not terrible either.
I do really like Stony Silence too, to bring
Yes.
in. A lot of people, when they talk about the Whirza decks, or whatever you want to call them, decks that play the Thopter Sword combo and Urza, uh, are kind of down on Stony Silence and like it doesn't win you the game. But yeah, it definitely doesn't win you the game, and you do need to have that backed up by some pressure. But it's kind of what I think like good sideboard cards do is they interact and kind of disrupt what your opponent is trying to do, and give you a window to win the game. But I feel like folks are coming off of the Hogak era faithless looting where you wanted your sideboard cards to just be like these huge slam dunk things, but I feel like we're in a good spot when there aren't sideboard cards that are like that.
Yep. Agreed. I think it's nicer to have these kind of lower impact sideboard cards that both players can continue to play the game around that just kind of add effects that change things a little bit. Did TJ change his sideboard at all
I
between
don't think
games 2 and
so.
3? All right, so TJ's convinced that we've got things correct after game 1. And TJ will get their first opportunity to be on the play here. Looks like Miles looking at a hand. This is one of those hands. Couple Path to Exiles, an Eldrazi Displacer, and it looks like at least 3 lands, a Waste, maybe a Temple Garden, possibly a Brushland. Seems like a medium hand for Miles. Not awesome. But paths are a nice way to interact with Urza, as this Whirza deck is generally not playing that many value generators. Urza being one, we haven't seen whether or not TJ's playing Psy Master Thopterist or help me Travis, what's the planeswalker that makes
Saheeli.
Saheeli?
Yeah, there's a range of the different Urza decks that you can be playing. The ones that play Sai and Saheeli usually tend to be on the paradoxical outcome game plan. But sometimes these Rixus list will have like a one of those cards on the board, but it feels like Oko's replaced that as sort of a value generation flex slot.
And we do see TJ fetching up a breeding pool, so the Oko alarm bells might be going off if you're Miles. I believe this is the first we've seen green out of TJ's deck, correct?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, except for opals.
Correct, yeah.
A land is specifically green.
Yep.
Also, haven't seen any Astrolabs.
Yeah. I wonder if TJ just hasn't hit them this match. I cannot imagine not playing them unless TJ replaced used Witching Well instead of Astrolab. So maybe that's where the room for that card came from.
And if folks are just joining us here, we got a little bit of stability issues with our camera that we're going to fix at the end of this match, but kind of have to wait till the players are done to go out there and do some adjustments.
Oof, Miles with the sad turn 2 Noble Hierarch.
Yeah. Aw.
So TJ is playing Snowland, so we're at least hinting that maybe Astrolab is in the deck.
I mean, sometimes you just have some weird variants and don't draw a four of.
Right.
Um, I've definitely gone through a 4 round legacy event and like not seen a ponder the whole time when I'm playing four, which is really strange. Oh, there's Oko. Are we gonna turn the witching well into 3/3? Are we gonna make a food?
Okay, interesting. So TJ rather wanting to cut Miles off the potential for more mana.
This is also a thing that I think is just generally egregious about Oko is Wizards doesn't print like an expletive like elk overlay, and you have to people use dice, but then decks have counters on them. They
Right.
give a planeswalker with a dice on it, and
Right.
then I hate it.
We're not if people haven't noticed, we're not Oko lovers. Cute Bunny, how is the audio sound right now? Is our audio all right?
We're having issues on Monday. Good.
It would be great if they printed an Oko kill spell next set. It's interesting. I mean, you got to figure these sets have already been figured out long ago, right? So they would have to have predicted that Oko was going to be really good. And I mean, obviously they knew Oko was going to be good. They wanted Oko to be kind of a title card in the set, but I don't know if they've explicitly admitted that the +1 is just too strong. But yeah, maybe they can just push through a supplemental answer. Just jam it into a commander product or a brawl product.
Up. Ahsoka just getting TJ 6 life. Oh, we sack the witching well to make a Thopter. We're gonna gain a life.
Are we gonna path? Okay.
Oh,
All right. I mean, that's how you want to do it if you're Miles. Oko being relatively ineffective here.
yeah, I'm not sure I liked the plussing on the hierarch to be
Yeah.
honest. Maybe you were afraid of a smasher.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, Cute Bunny, they are definitely dialing in. We were just talking about that, really dialing things in on Pioneer.
Respond to the trigger, Miles.
Miles trying to ask an important rules question without necessarily giving things away. Okay. So we'll get a path.
The reason why you would respond to the trigger is for like a card like Metallic Rebuke or something like that. That
Right.
there's slight edges that TJ can get if he can turn his artifacts into Mox Sapphires.
Right. And also, has an additional artifact out there, which will make some of those spells cost less as well.
Displacer is surprisingly good.
Yeah, super unique card. Another example, I think, of great card design um, that can just do a lot of different things and makes for like some quite complex lines in this Eldrazi decks.
We
TJ,
don't know. We haven't seen cryptics from TJ, but there's a lot of islands. I assume maybe we're on some Mystic Sanctuary cryptic thing, but maybe not. We're unknown on that.
yeah. And I guess I should even switch it to, we are technically on 4-color Whirza at this point. Miles comes in for 6
No,
again. We're
we
going to
got
get
a
the
whir.
whir. This likely finds Sword of the Meek. And there's the sword.
This Slaughter Foundry might be hungry.
Yeah, luckily Miles has left up all of his mana, and I can't tell, is that 1 or 2 displacer activations available?
I'm pretty sure we have 2. I can't quite see. We're covering it up. Is that a Ghost Quarter? But no, I think we might just have 1 unless there's an Eldrazi Temple in there, which is kind of why I don't like playing the Hierarch pre-combat, but
In either case, it's going to be tougher for TJ to double block the displacer or even triple block it and get it off the board, as it will be able to flicker the creature that has the sword on it.
I think you just chump both here, right? Is there a reason to
Yeah, I
keep?
agree. I think if you're not going to kill either one, I could even see letting both go through here, because I think TJ should be able to get enough Thopters to actually start dealing with Miles' board.
Yeah. I guess also the issue, if you chump with both and then you don't have any other artifacts in your hand, which would be highly unlikely, and just food, you can always respond to the Thopter trigger by like pathing, um, or the sword trigger by pathing a Thopter, and then it wouldn't come back, and so then you'd be out of artifacts. Unlikely. I bet TJ has more artifacts in hand, but
Right.
could be a reason to
Yeah,
not throw them both away.
absolutely. Bold. So we're coming in on TJ's side.
Well, you have to win the game.
You do, although all you really need is an Urza here to go off.
Yeah, but if Sword of the Meat comes back and there's not a 1/1 to equip it to, and TJ
Ooh.
didn't have any other artifacts left to sack, then you're out of that engine.
That's so.
Oh no, I guess yeah.
Miles says, "Uh
Maybe it
oh,"
depends how much. Yeah, I'm wrong on that one.
and I definitely agree with Miles here. I think Jirper, Aether Grid is kind of a house here, especially because when TJ is sacking the Sword of the Meek, uh,
Yep.
they can continue to tap the Sword of the Meek along with another artifact to trigger.
We got an E for 2 here, so
That's interesting. Looking to get this Thopter Foundry off the table. So I guess if you're Miles, you want to respond to the first activation of. This seems like the spot. There we go.
oh, are we gonna see a Mystic Sanctuary and put the whir back on top? That would be cool.
Nope.
Nope.
But maybe there is a whir in hand.
Okay.
Or maybe we're looking at some sort of counter magic.
Well, it'd have to be something that stifles the trigger.
Good point. Oh yeah, Knight Rider, that's good. Welding jar here would do the trick.
It's well,
It should
sacking it
be
is part of. I'm gonna
it
go
should be in the
interrupt.
yard.
Right, the sacrifice is part of the act. So it is back, yes.
It should be
Well, it
in the
goes to the
yard.
yard, and then he can respond to the trigger. But every, yeah, so
So it should be in the
I'm just
yard.
letting you. Correct. It's in the yard, and then trigger goes to the back.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Uh, we're still not quite getting this, but so the
Oh,
Thopter should be there, but the sword should not actually be back yet. As we're responding, or our understanding
we
was that.
cleared it up, and this is the point that Miles wants to be at right now.
Okay.
It's really it's challenging to commentate and to even like watch what's going on with there's so many triggers that are going on the stack and things done in response to those and the correct way to sequence is kind of it's challenging if you don't play the deck and you're playing against it.
Right. And this is why you need to sacrifice in response to the trigger for the sword coming back is at the very least. Yeah, because TJ doesn't have any other artifacts that are non-token to sacrifice.
Yep, correct.
So you save yourself all of this pain from the Aether Grid and a ton of Thopters entering the battlefield. So with this Whirza deck, you can get punished so badly for even small, kind of like small misses in your timing. It's why it's one of the things that tends to actually like slow things down against this deck is that there are so many points where the timing's critical, and so you need to give your opponent, your opponent needs to know when to respond, and you need to be looking at your opponent every time you're making an action.
Yeah, communication really important when you don't have like triggers that are put on the stack for you, like on MTGO or something. Which is one of the things I think is really interesting about paper magic, and what I like about it is there is a fair amount of like bluffing that gets involved with this that doesn't isn't necessarily possible online.
So, Agatog noting, yeah, that we do have a food token, but yes. So let's bring up. So Thopter Foundry is non-token, regardless of whether it's a creature or not. So. So Miles is still in this. It's definitely a tougher spot with TJ now with, I believe, 5 Thopters on the battlefield, and the Aether Grid's still there. And, Sword of the Meek has one of its modes is just to equip for
Well,
+1,
sort of the move
+2.
costs 2 though, right? So that should be gone.
That's correct.
Sort of the move costs 2.
So it should be gone.
Explosives got this on 2 and blew up. Yeah. Good.
So we're going to see what TJ finds here. I imagine. I don't even know what we're finding here.
What do we have going on? I missed that.
Goblin Welder.
Oh, okay.
Or Engineer, excuse me. Too much legacying. This Miles is going to scoop him up here. Okay. Okay. So Miles decides to scoop him up here. It's a tough spot to be if you're Miles. I think that the timing on that engineered explosive was obviously kind of critical to this game. It's certainly possible that Miles could have still come back with something like a Reality Smasher or an Endbringer, a large creature, but certainly a lot of Miles' smaller threats would be pretty easily dealt with if you're on TJ's side.